I trust you're doing well. I'm Ethan Tashube. You're watching RTV News live from Kigali. This Thursday, President Paul Kagame virtually addressed the participants of the Global Business Forum Africa. In his address, the head of state noted that the Continental Free Trade Area is one major opportunity that Africa should take advantage of to build better during post-COVID-19 recovery era. We have this report. The two-day Global Business Forum Africa, being held in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, kicked off on Wednesday, and it attracted government and business leaders, among others, to discuss the opportunities brought about by the African Continental Free Trade Area. In his virtual address to the participants, President Paul Kagame said that much as COVID-19 pandemic has devastated the global economy, leaders have a responsibility to do their best to ensure that Africa bounces back stronger while dealing with the effects of the pandemic.
The COVID pandemic has been an extremely difficult period. Families and small businesses have experienced a great deal of loss. And while the worst may be behind us, the road back to normal is still long. That's why we have a responsibility amidst all this disruption to maximize the strength and assets that Africa does have. We must also strive to seize the new opportunities that have been generated to work with the partners to build a more prosperous and cooperative future for all of us.
President Kagame also pointed out that as vaccines become more accessible around the world, the fight against COVID-19 pandemic is gaining momentum.
Manufacturing and supply chains will need to become more resilient, more local, and more technologically advanced. Fourth industrial revolution, innovations in artificial intelligence and 3D printing, for example, are making it possible to make products almost anywhere at a competitive cost. Similarly, life-saving vaccines and other pharmaceuticals will increasingly be produced in a decentralized fashion, including in Rwanda, thanks to advances in engineering and good partnerships with companies like BioNTech and others.
The head of state noted that despite the resurgence of the economic sector, the world has not yet reached the level of the economic projections of 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. He pointed out that some of the obstacles caused by this pandemic can last for a long time.
Africa met this crisis well prepared in at least one important respect. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which was decades in the making, had just entered its operational phase in July 2019. Africa is now the largest free trade area in the world in terms of the number of countries since the formation of the World Trade Organization. Last week, the 15th ratification of the African Medicines Agency Treaty was deposited with the African Union, and the treaty will therefore come into force next month. The establishment of this body will be a game changer for Africa's ability to produce high-quality vaccines and medicines for our continent. However, the progress of African economic integration will mean more trade and investment between Africa and the rest of the world, not less.
The 6th edition of the Global Business Forum Africa comes in 2021 after being postponed last year due to COVID-19 crisis. This year's forum, which concluded on Thursday, was organized by the Dubai Chamber of Commerce in the United Arab Emirates and is being held at the same time as the 2020 Expo Dubai. Now, in other news, for the very first time, local elections in Rwanda are going to be held directly from the village level rather than the cell level in order to avoid the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. The Ministry of Local Government says Rwanda is committed to the principle of democracy in these elections. Jen Motoni reports.
After postponing local elections twice due to the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic, they are set to begin on Saturday. The chairperson of the National Electoral Commission, Professor Kalisa Mbanda, says that from the village level to the district level, local elections will be held in accordance with the COVID-19 preventive guidelines, which is why campaigns for candidates will be conducted virtually for those who want to join district councils.
We have reduced the electorate. Before, residents in different villages would vote at the cell level, and some villages have a high number of residents exceeding the number of people that should vote, which is 1,000. So we decided to divide each village into small local groups. Elections will be done at schools or universities in each cell or district, whereby candidates to represent each group on the village level will be elected. And again, the campaigns will be conducted virtually, as each candidate will be given 5 minutes to present his or her projects or what they intend to do once elected.
The Minister for Local Government, Gatabazi Jean-Marie Vianney, says that this will not violate the principles of democracy and the right of citizens to elect leaders.
Every vote from the village groups, ISIBO, will count at the district level elections, which means the district council will consist of members from each sector, and each member will have been elected by the people, starting right from the village level to the cell level and to the sector.
Minister Gatabazi also urges everyone to be involved in the elections.
One of the characteristics of a citizen with a civic education is his or her participation in voting for their leaders. So we expect people to come and vote for their candidates on Saturday, who will be representing their villages at the village level.
Local elections are set to begin on Saturday and end towards the end of November. They shall take up about 2 billion Rwandan francs of the national budget. 240,000 leaders will be elected across the country. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, John, for that report. Now, the cabinet meeting of Wednesday, October 13th, 2021, nominated Alex Kamhire as the new Auditor General, replacing Obadia Biraro, who had served for 10 years. Biraro's 5-year term ended in June, and the cabinet had up to 90 days to name his replacement. But who is the new Auditor General? Derek Emuhanji gives us the details.
Alex Kamhire, a 44-year-old professional accountant who has served in various capacities, both locally and at regional level. Prior to his appointment as new Auditor General, Kamhire served as Acting Chief Internal Auditor in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning from April 2014 until February 2015, when he was confirmed by the cabinet on the same position. He served in Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, but also provided internal audit services in the other government entities, including central government entities, local government entities, public enterprise, and government programs. Before joining the Office of Chief Internal Audit, he served from December 2010 to April 2014 as Financial Management Specialist in the Office of Accountant General, but specifically working in Integrated Financial Management Information System project. He was in charge of change management strategies and capacity building. Since August 2015 to August 2021, Kamhire served in Advisory Committee of East African as Audit and Risk Committee member. The committee is advising the East African Committee organs and institutions on matters relating to governance, internal controls, audit, and risk management. Alex Kamhire is a fellow member of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants and also a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda since 2015. In January 2007, Kamhire joined the Ministry of Agriculture to provide the internal audit services for the rural sector support project that was financed by the World Bank and Government of Rwanda. His role was mainly to provide assurance that controls and risk management processes were properly designed and implemented from the initiation of projects, procurement, projects implementation, projects completion, monitoring and evaluation, accounting and reporting of financial information of the project. In 2003, he was recruited by Office of Auditor General to be part of the audit teams. Within the team, he participated in various audits of public enterprises, central government, and local government entities. Kamhire did university studies at Adventist University of Central Africa, AUCA. He is married with 4 children. Derek Muhanji, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Derek, for that rather profile. Now, hospitality and tourism sector in Rwanda is said to have experienced about 34% economic recovery compared to the level it was on in 2019 before COVID-19 pandemic hit. Sector players say they are optimistic that things will get back to normal as long as preventive measures are consistently adhered to. Jen Motoni has this report.
The reduction in the number of people infected with the COVID-19 virus and how restrictions are being eased by the government are among the reasons for reassuring those in the tourism and hospitality sectors that things could get back to normal if people continue abiding by the COVID-19 preventive guidelines.
We have been rejecting bookings for meeting rooms because they are few, but now we are finding ways of increasing them. There are meetings that were pending, which are currently going to be taking place because things have started to get back to normal. As COVID-19 cases keep reducing, the more we have hope that life will get back to normal.
The Director General of the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism at the Private Sector Federation, Frank Gisha, says the sector has experienced a 34% of economic recovery compared to what it was in 2019. He says all that is required is for people to keep adhering to the COVID-19 preventive guidelines in order to keep up this percentage.
Last year, when we opened tourism, I don't want to call it excitement, but a few months in December and Jan, it had to prompt some, strict measures which required lockdowns. So we don't want this to ruin what so far has been, achieved in progress. So we would want at least to keep this at a steady, process such that, in the next 3 months, we are 40% of the recovery, and we will see more sectors open for business, and creating as well the confidence and trust as a destination for travelers who are looking forward to visit Rwanda.
The Chief Executive Officer at Rwanda Development Board, Claire Akamanzi, says that good service delivery should be strengthened.
Sometimes you go to a restaurant or to a hotel and you see 10 waiters or waitresses, and 5 of them will come and ask you what you want to order, but you've already told the first one, and then you tell the second, then the third. By the time the 5th comes, you're like, okay, all of you come here so I can tell you at a go what I want to order, so you don't have to come back. So the resources are there, the people are there, you're paying them a salary, but you're not organizing them, you're not training them. The resources are there, the people are there, you're paying them a salary, but you're not organizing them, you're not training them.
In 2019, the tourism and hospitality sector was at the forefront of the country's foreign exchange earnings, with nearly $500 million in revenue that year and more than 160,000 jobs. In 2020, the COVID-19 devastated hospital and tourism sectors, among other services. The government has set up Economic Recovery Fund, with the service sector getting about $50 million so far. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Many thanks, Jen. Now, this Thursday, Green Hills Academy celebrated their Culture Day, an event meant to equip learners with the historical values and teaching the responsibility at the early age. Sam Kadisa attended the ceremony and filed this report.
Promoting Rwandan cultural values, do's and don'ts were some of the key highlights during the Cultural and Heritage Day at Green Hills Academy. Learners say they are excited to learn about the Rwandan culture.
Today was amazing. We have a lot of things to do. Our culture is very beautiful. We dance, we eat, and we do many things.
Today it was a very good day because I got to see what they used to do as traditional in Rwanda a long time ago. I'm very happy today. I'm happy to celebrate Rwanda, how I respect Rwanda. And I just want to thank Rwanda for everything.
On the side of parents, this is a good initiative because teaching children about the Rwandan culture allows them to grow into responsible citizens and helps them to know their background, as well as embracing the African values in general.
For most of parents here, most of Rwandans, were born in other countries. We were raised there, and we didn't have the chance to know our culture. So for me, it is a privilege to have my kids here, because now they can learn about their culture. They can learn who they are. They can have an identity as Rwandans.
It is vital for our kids to learn about another African country's heritage and tradition. Rwanda is a really good example where it represents, and it displays that African, tradition. So if they learn in the Rwandan heritage and they, dressing like the Rwandans, they used to dress culturally and traditionally, is important because it helps our kids.
The primary school principal at Green Hills Academy, Katarina Jida, says the idea of organizing a cultural and heritage day came as a way of helping learners get answers to the questions they were always asking themselves.
Our central idea was cultural values and beliefs and responsibilities reflect who we are. So it's really important for our learners to understand who we are here at Green Hills Academy, as well as what are our roles here in the wider community. In order for us to be able to go out into the community, it's so important that we understand ourselves of who we are.
Celebrating Cultural and Heritage Day at Green Hills Academy was held for the first time today, and the school administration confirms that the initiative is going to be held annually. Sam Kalisa, RTV News.
Beautiful images there. Now, the Rwandan government has launched a cattle census across the country in order to create strategies on how to battle with the diseases that affect them, along with the issues of cattle theft. This survey was funded at a tune of 1.5 billion Rwandan francs by the government of Rwanda. Jen Mutoni has this report.
This general cattle census is being conducted at every household that owns a cow or cattle across the country. It is being done by trained veterinarians. The details being followed are the type of cow, its offsprings, its age, and how the breeder got it. Some livestock farmers say this cattle count is important.
The fact that my cow has been registered and put in the system gives me comfort and a sense of security in such a way that if it was to be stolen, it would be tracked down from whoever it was sold to. So this reassures us that our cows are secure.
Veterinarians counting these cows explained what they are asking the breeders and the importance of this census.
We demand the breeder for his or her national ID, and then use it to fill in a form, and then we ask them where they got the cow. And then we check if the cow has an ear tag, and if not, we give it one. We never knew the actual number of cows in our sector, but this survey will give us the actual number.
The administration of the Rwanda Agriculture Board says this is a government program to carry out solid livestock planning and to find ways to prevent cattle diseases caused by grazing cattle on open fields, and also addressing the issue of cattle theft, as explained by the head of the Department Animal Resources Research and Technology Transfer at Rwanda Agriculture Board, Fabrice Ndayisenga.
This will help us to know the actual number of cows in the country and also help the breeders to keep track of the number of cows they have as they breed. This survey will also help in fighting cattle theft, whereby it will be easy to track down a cow that has been stolen. Again, we shall also be able to monitor the movement of the cattle from one province to another, whereby if a certain virus or disease has emerged in cows of a certain area, it will be easy to mitigate it, whereby a person will first get an authorizing document to be able to transport a cow from one district to another.
This survey started on the 12th of October and will end on December 15th, 2021. It has a budget of 1.5 billion Rwandan francs. In 2 days, about 6,000 cows have been counted and registered on the online system. Statistics show that there are more than 1.3 million cows in Rwanda. This survey will determine the actual number of cows in the country. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.